Those of you who have known me for a while have seen me play quite a few different guitars. Fenders, ESP, Ibanez, even some pointy ones. I've played a lot of guitars over the years. But here's something that even surprises me when I think about it. Over all these years of playing, I've never owned a Gibson. Never. Till now. Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to my studio. My first guitar was from a company called Memphis. It was a black Les Paul copy. I use the term copy loosely because it wasn't very good. Terrible, actually. I mean, with a setup, it might not have been too bad, but then again. So through this time, I went through some of the usual suspects. Carvin, Charvel, Ibanez, and then finally Strats. And that's where I've stayed most of the time since then. Except for a few years when I was playing the Gibson-esque, in appearance anyway, ESP LTD EC1000. But I never ended up owning a Gibson. I think part of the reason, at least, is, well, I mean, Gibsons aren't cheap. And at least the way my playing developed, my picking style, guitars with a tune-o-matic style bridge have always felt a little bit cumbersome to me. Not like the Super Strat type guitars I was used to. Now, that said, several years ago when I was on tour, our guitar tech, who we lovingly nicknamed Detox, had a sweet black Les Paul custom that he used to bring out from time to time. Now, that guitar was freaking amazing. I did love that guitar. It definitely had the mojo. The Les Paul Studio has always been a more affordable option, but the thought of a scaled-down Les Paul, while still costing as much as some other more fully featured guitars from other brands, just didn't appeal to me. But the times, they do change. Over the last 10 years, things have definitely changed over at Gibson, in my opinion, for the better. I've been watching out of the corner of my eye over the years as Gibson announces new models here and there. And then a few months ago, this happened. Announced under the banner of The One, which I actually didn't see until several months later, Gibson announced the new Les Paul Studio and, even better, the Les Paul Studio Session. With their enhanced switching capabilities, neck binding, and burst finishes, both models represent a pretty big upgrade over previous Les Paul Studios, but the Studio Session grabbed me for three main reasons. The AA figured maple top, ebony fingerboard with binding, and the contoured neck heel for easier access to the higher frets. And to top it off, they come in blue cobalt in this case, so after all these years, I caved. And here it is. My cobalt blue Les Paul Studio Session. The photos I've seen actually don't do it justice. Now, most of Gibson's product photos don't show it, but it does come with the rhythm treble switch plate poker chip thing. It's in the case. You just got to install it. It takes about 30 seconds. By the way, I am really proud to be affiliated with Sweetwater, and I've included my affiliate link down below in the description, as well as links to some of the gear I'm using in this video, including this amazing guitar. Now, if you purchase anything through my links, I'll get a small commission, and that helps me to keep this channel going. Thanks. Now, when the guitar arrived, I gave it a pretty thorough once-over. Over the years, I've heard horror stories about guitars arriving from the Gibson factory, needing a fret dressing, having sloppy finish work, or sanded marks on the fretboard or the frets themselves. Now, apparently, that was a different Gibson, because as far as I can see, this guitar is perfect. They did an amazing job on this guitar. The Les Paul Studio Session features an ultra-modern weight-relieved mahogany body with AA figured maple cap, a mahogany neck with bound ebony fretboard, and Gibson's slim taper profile, which I gotta tell you, feels great to play on. And while the guitar is weight relieved, it still feels substantial. It's not feather light, and I can feel every note resonate through it. So, how does it play? Well, to be honest, out of the box, I didn't care for it, but that's me, not the guitar. See, I've got a specific way that I like my guitars set up. For starters, I don't like my action super low. I like to raise it up a little bit. Also, I use 10 through 52s. Gibsons generally ship with a standard set of 10s, which to me, they feel weak. Without the thicker low strings, it just feels flimsy to me. So I threw on a set of 10 through 52s. I set the neck relief and then set the string height, which ended up being around 2.25 millimeters on the lower strings and 2 millimeters on the upper strings. Now that's measured at the 12th fret. Then I set the intonation, and I freaking love it. Because my preferences are different from a lot of other guitarists, I'm used to new guitars needing a setup out of the box. This wasn't a big deal. So something that did kind of surprise me, though, when the guitar first arrived, of course, the action was too low, but also the neck was super straight. There was no bow at all, yet there was zero fret buzz anywhere. None. The Studio Session features a Gibson Classic 57 and Classic 57 Plus in the bridge position. The Classic 57 is Gibson's take on that early patent applied for humbucker design. Now, the 57 Classic Plus in the bridge is a fairly bright pickup, but that's why you got tone knobs. There's an it there that I didn't even know that I was looking for. It's that Gibson thing, and it's definitely a wow factor. For crunchy rock rhythm stuff, this is the sound. A Les Paul through a Marshall is a renowned combination for a reason. This is my Marshall Studio Vintage 20 running through a 412 loaded with Celestion G12 EVH speakers, basically 20-watt greenbacks. Now that's just amazing to play through. It's hard to describe. There's just enough dirt there, but yet it's still clear. That's the sound that Guitar Rock was built on. Now on both of the new Les Paul Studio models, Gibson has included push-pull coil tapping switch on the volumes. On the studio session, there's also a push-pull on this tone control, and that's a phase switch. And a push-pull on this tone control, which is a bypass switch. Basically sends tone from this pickup straight out to the output jack. No volume, no tone, no load, just straight to the output. Now this will give you a little bit more output, but if you've got the tone control dropped at all, when you pull that, it's going to bypass that tone control and it can rip your head off. Trust me, I've done it a few times already. Okay, now let's go to something a little more high gain. I'm going to switch over to my Jubilee reissue. I'm still going through the greenbacks and I've got everything set up pretty much identical to the video I did on my Jubilee. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check that out when you're done here. Now, once again, this is just amazing. I like some drives, so I'm digging on this one even more than the first one. It's crunchy, yet smooth. It's great for rhythm and lead playing, just all around great. Okay, so let's try one more thing here. For heavy, crunchy tones, it's pretty much established gospel that it's hard to beat a Les Paul. I've got a couple fairly heavy amps here, my Marshall JVM 410H and my Mesa Boogie triple rectifier. Let's see how the studio session handles the heavy stuff. And there it is, that sound. Jeez, that's heavy. The balance is amazing. The highs are clear and razor sharp, yet not brittle. The lows are full, but it's not boomy. And I can feel every note in my chest, even through my studio monitors. Both of these are the perfect kind of tone to piss off your neighbors. You know, I waited a long time to get my first Gibson, but I think I picked the perfect guitar to break the streak. From the slim taper profile neck, to the smooth ebony fingerboard, to that trademark Les Paul tone, double A figured maple cap to this beautiful cobalt blue finish. This guitar just screams Steve. So what are your thoughts? Are these new guitars enough to finally take the Les Paul Studio off the sidelines and into the spotlight? Let me know down below in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.